I'm going to tell you a secret. Approximately 6 months ago, I decided to give up alcohol. Now, this has caused much controversy when I attend dinner parties or meet with friends who know that I used to drink. And it has been a really interesting social experiment and experiment for myself to go on. People ask me, why did you stop drinking? And for me, that was a really interesting question. I didn't per se think that I had an issue with alcohol. It wasn't that I was waking up thinking about drinking or that in the evenings I would drink to excess. It's just that I got into the habit of drinking. So I would get home, I would have had a stressful day, and I thought, let me have a glass of wine, maybe two. And before I knew it, I was regularly drinking. Little, but often. Now, the last time I stopped drinking was when my son was in my tummy and I knew for his health and well-being that I shouldn't drink because it wasn't good for a growing baby. So I had around 9 months off, and then as I was breastfeeding, I very rarely drank. But I stopped drinking for him. I didn't do it for me. So the last time I actually wasn't drinking was when I was a teenager, and I used to drink when I was a teenager. I would go out and buy drinks, and so as long as I can remember, alcohol has been in my life. And I really needed to see if I could experiment with actually not drinking alcohol. Could I go for weeks on end or months on end and not drink? So I have done dry January before, and what I found with dry January was that I was constantly thinking about the fact that I wasn't drinking. And that made me think that I had some form of habit with alcohol. And so on the 12th of July, after a very, very big night out, I stopped drinking. I downloaded an app and it tracked my progress. It talked to me and informed me about alcohol and how it affected my body and the type of symptoms and things I'd be feeling as I weaned myself off my alcohol dependency. What a journey this has been. Firstly, what I find really interesting is when I decline alcohol. So if I'm at a dinner party or an event and someone offers me a drink and I say, thank you very much, I don't drink, the next question may be why, in which case I tell them. I say, I was finding a habit and a pattern in my own drinking, and I wanted to see if I could shift that. And what I've noticed is that that makes people really uncomfortable. They begin to look at themselves and reflect with their own relationships with alcohol. And then other people just commend me and say something like, oh, really great job. Oh, I wish I could do that. Or good for you. And they kind of make a big deal out of it in a different way. But very rarely do people just go, okay, what can I get to drink? There has to be some kind of commentary on it, asking me why, expecting that maybe I'm an alcoholic, or just not really understanding or commending me and congratulating me for doing such a great job. And I find that really interesting, how my choice not to drink alcohol makes other people uncomfortable. And then it was an interesting journey as to how I responded to alcohol, what I missed about it. And during the summer, when the summer months were so warm and I was on holiday and all I could think about was having a glass of rosé as I sat and watched the sunset, and there was that emotional attachment to the drink. I then started to notice alcohol. So I used to do this myself. I used to take a photo of my hand holding a glass of wine with a beautiful view behind it. And when you stop and think about that, that's really strange. Why have I taken a photo of a drink, which is alcoholic or not, with a view and my hand? Like, just take a photo of the view or take a selfie with you in it. But why the drink? And I found that really interesting. Of course, people like to share what they're eating and drinking, but the drink thing really got me. And I thought there's quite a lot of illegal drugs out there, and it would be totally unacceptable for me to put an illegal drug next to my computer and say, starting the day with a bang, big day ahead of me. Everyone will be like, Lucy, you've got a problem. But it's okay for me to post alcohol images every day and no one thinks that's problematic. Society is so insidious with the use of alcohol. It is so prevalent everywhere that when you stop drinking, you realise where it is and how much people rely on it in their lifestyle and their practices, and how much shame comes into it when you don't drink and how it reflects on them. I mean, my mind has been blown with this journey. So I'm pretty much 5 months in, and I'm going to be going for at least a year. My minimum is a year. And then I'm going to assess the situation. And to be honest, if between you and I don't miss it or I don't want to drink again, I'm not going to. I will tell you, however, that I do miss the taste of wine and champagne. A beautiful champagne, a beautiful red wine, white wine, rosé. There's something about the taste, but then I'm starting to think, is it the taste or is it how it makes me feel when I drink it? And I'm really enjoying non-alcoholic beers at the moment. There's some amazing Heineken, Freedom, 0% beers, which just taste like the real thing and give you that same release and reaction, but minus the toxic aspect of the alcohol. So I am loving my journey at the moment. And yeah, I do memes on here and funny stories about alcohol. And you know, I have drunk my whole life, but now I'm not. And it feels really quite liberating to step into this uncharted territory in my life and not have any dependencies on something which wasn't a huge problem, but definitely existed and was part of my life. Where it takes me, I don't know. I don't know if you've had any journeys with alcohol or other forms of addiction, but I think what really struck me was that I wasn't a classic alcohol person. You know, I don't have, or I didn't have a perceived problem with alcohol, but quitting it showed me where and when I craved it and when I needed it and what it gave to me. And that in itself is a problem, because I'm not finding my own path to soothe, to manage my anxiety, to manage my stress levels. I'm reaching for, in essence, a toxin to help me soften those feelings and to dampen and to remove those feelings. And the more you remove those feelings and dampen them, the more they bubble up and become overwhelming. At least they did for me. So 5 months in, alcohol-free, here. Thanks for listening. Let me know in the comments if you've gone through this yourself, if you have anything you'd love to share with me, any tips, or just, you know, anything you have to say on the subject. And if you're going to give it a go for it, because I promise once you get through the first couple of months, it just becomes normal. Good luck.